Hooked on the cook we provide you with. Sent on that iTunes. Yep. And a fast dollar earn plus it smash when it turn. Hey. Okay. I'm a beast. Dolphins up 10-3. I'm a beast. So anyway, I was watching ESPN today. Pissed me off. Fuck me up, pissed me off. Fuck me up, pissed me off. It was going so well. I don't have any doubt in my mind that Deion Sanders is a man of ambition. You don't get to be, you don't get that far. You don't get that good. Let me show y'all this. You don't get that far. You don't get that good without having supreme competitiveness, a will to win, and super talent. Like to have your own name, to just be prime time, all that shit. So it's like they're winning now up in Boulder. That's good. That bodes well for us. That bodes well for people who are interested in seeing the program get back. You go from 1-11 to 4-6, 4-7 to right now being just on the outside of the conversation for, the college football playoff. Which, when you think about it, that magnitude of turnaround might be unprecedented. I know the guy in Bloomington has turned IU's football program around, and I watched some highlights. I didn't see enough of their game, but I watched some highlights of that. They're a good football team. I don't see anything special over there, but they're a good football team, and they're doing it in the Big Ten. That's fine. No hate, no shade. The the turnaround in Boulder though is like, I want to say unprecedented. Let me ask my assistant. What's the biggest turnaround in college football from like a losing program to a winning program? What's the biggest turnaround in college football? I really like. Let me ask you again now. What is the biggest turnaround from, let's say, over the course of a 3-year span in college football, from a losing program to a winning program? That'll be second to what Dion is doing by the time all is said and done. 'Cause I'm talking about national championship, not just hopes, like, oh, real, because the landscape of college football is so much different now than obviously it was then because of NIL, because of 10-6 Dolphins at the half, because of the NIL, and I would imagine that we haven't seen the end of what that becomes, um, how that plays out long term. Will that be something that only the top flight programs really benefit from? Will it be, kind of the rising tide that lifts all boats? I think that still remains to be seen. But I just saw, like, watch this. I saw this conversation this dude was having. And first of all, shame on you, Rex Ryan. You motherfucker. Rex Ryan decided the best thing for him to do was ruin my goddamn day saying this bullshit. 12. I can tell you this. Just when I'm thinking about this, is that I think we're seeing a shift on the NFL level. First of all, look at D'Amico Ryan's and look at the job that he's doing in Houston, the success that he's having, as well as the Lions head coach. What's the Detroit Lions head coach? Don. What's the Detroit Lions head coach? What's his name? I could have Googled it by now, girl. Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, who is a former Detroit Lion. I think that what we're seeing on the pro level is that I think this is going to be a shift that you see in basketball. I think in all pro sports because certain things don't work with grown ass men, and I think it doesn't hurt for these guys to be able to see like a D'Amico Ryan's when if you're a professional football player and you don't need that old school in your face gritty like Sean Payton is an interesting. The Sean Payton experiment will be interesting. Will he be one of the coaches that can come back to the game and actually have ultimate success? I think Andy Reid is the outlier and maybe the last of a dying breed. A holdover, and it's what's funny is that it's his creativity offensively that I think has bolstered the love or has engendered the love that his players have for him. I'm not so sure that the type of coach that I grew up on, NFL wise, I'm not so sure that should have worked anymore. I guess Jim Harbaugh in San Diego, we'll see, because shocking, what has he brought to the Chargers? Play good defense, run the ball. Helps Bear, covers up a world of deficiencies. Plus, when you've got kind of like a wild card of a quarterback, what you want is for them to be able to play action. That's your deal. That's where a lot of your success is going to come. It makes the RPO a lot better when they know you are focused on and very adept at running the ball. So anyway, when you see the D'Amico Ryans, you see the Dan Campbells, I think you're just going to see more and more, almost player coaches on the NFL level. Guys who are respected by the players in the locker room because he kind of understands them from a different, almost peer standpoint. But it's like a player coach. I mean, look how young the kid is in Miami. He's a pot smoker too. You could tell. Whereas in college football, I think the rah rah, authoritarian, gritty, kind of tough CEO type, I think that more like Dion, a guy who has great coordinators, former NFL coaches, by the way. So it's almost preparing. You got guys, or at least in Boulder, you've got this formula of a head coach that is there to motivate, that's there to be looked up to for sure. God, there it is again. They're running the highlight of that block. Mahomes running like a kid. You just thought they won the whole left side of that. That shit was crazy. That shit was crazy. Um, I'm sorry, I'm watching highlights. Um, no, you have a guy who he commands respect from his players because let's be honest. First of all, make no mistake, the Flash, the Flash is impressive enough to woo, especially today's young player. All that gold, all that swag, that plays with kids. See, on the NFL, I just don't know if Dion's thing sells because all of them dudes have that. So then the question is truly going to be: is your system one that really I fuck with? Like, do I buy into what you're selling? And a guy who's that's why I think D'Amico Ryan is having the success that he's having. Why Dan Campbell is having the success that he's having is because you're talking about guys that kind of almost still feel like players. So the demands are different. The ask is different. The credibility probably feels a lot different. So the buy-in, therefore, is different. And I don't see what Prime does for this or what would be any other college program. I don't see that translating to the NFL. I don't see it. His ability to get two NFL guys to come and be his offensive defensive coordinator. You know, he has sway because there's only 32 jobs that you're going to get, right? 32 head coaching jobs that you're going to get in the NFL. You know, being able to find that next, you know, former maybe even NFL coordinator that is looking for a gig when, if, and when Shermer's moon is on the rise and the success that they're having in Boulder translate to somebody wanting to hire him. Like, yeah, come do that over here. That's the succession. That's how it happens. But you still have the CEO sitting at the top. And then Rex Ryan goes and says this. And the only reason why it pissed me off is because, well, Dion's ties to Texas, first of all, his ties to the Cowboys, second of all, his ties to Jerry Jones, third of all. It was in my blind spot. It was the one thing that I didn't see. And as with all things, it's really just about me. And if I maintain a level of confidence that Prime's going to be in Boulder, that's better for the program because I have that type of spiritual sway. You got to understand. I have that type of spiritual sway. You ain't got all the answers, Sway. I'm trying to tell you. So I came into today, just I was fine. I was fine until I seen Rex Ryan say that. And then of course it made its way over to, because this is the thing. It's that I just don't want the question becomes, are Prime's ears really perked up looking for his next challenge as a coach? Or is he happy with what he's seeing that he's developing in Boulder? I personally think it's the latter. Personally, I truthfully, I'm not really worried about it. I think that it goes without saying that he's in the best situation that he could be in outside of maybe getting offered the UT job, because I just know, or I feel like I know he would take an opportunity to be back in Texas. There's a point in time during the post game presser when he asked what the weather was back in Boulder, and those are the things that worry me. I ain't gonna hold you. Well, what worries me is that there is a greener. There is one. I think there's 1 yard of greener grass, and it's the state of Texas. It's being back in Texas. Apparently, he loves it there. Obviously, that's where his off-season home is. He's always talking about that's where he built his legacy of coaching, starting at youth football and moving all the way up until he made it down to Jackson. And I'm like, fuck, I don't see UT doing it. Not anytime soon. They got a good program going. They got a good thing going there. They're not hurting for money. They're not hurting for attention. They're not hurting for recruits. Texas is going to be good. So leave that be over there. The Cowboys, though, that was in my blind spot. I didn't see that coming. And then it's like, oh, yeah, but they got a quarterback. They got Dak Prescott. Yeah, and he's terrible. He's not terrible. He's not terrible. Terrible is extreme. Terrible is extreme. He's not terrible. He's just Dak Prescott. Hold on 1 second. My dog is a follower. As big as his ass is and could be a leader, he's a follower. So when everything goes haywire and the other dog starts barking, he starts barking. It's annoying. Anyway, what was in my blind spot was definitely I didn't see the Cowboys as an option. And I'm like, what are the odds? Well, let's be honest. Do I think Prime is an NFL coach? I do not. Does that mean that he wouldn't succeed? No, it doesn't. It just means that I'm a guy with an opinion. But all things considered, like I said, his biggest selling points, that CEO, he got more money than the kids that he's coaching. How else can I put it? You go to the NFL and you're not impressing those dudes with chains and you know what I'm saying? Is there more to him than that? Obviously. I think he's a great shaper and molder of young men. That's why I think he's cut out best for the college game, to be honest with you. I think he enjoys it. I think he likes the position of being a guy that inspires more in his players, and that inspiration bleeds then over to his specialists who coach those players up to go out and be great on Saturday. Does that rah-rah shit sell on Sundays? When you got guys who, I too am a multimillionaire. You know what I mean? Because part of the buy-in, you can see it. He didn't waste time trying to sell it. He didn't waste time making it a part of his approach. I'm coming, and I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's Louis. And if you understand young men like I understand young men, you know that shit's impressive. Coaches balling out of control. And no matter how much NIL money any of these young men make, it'll be two or three guys, a Shador, a Travis, that'll be making it on a level to where you might not be so impressed by what the coaches bring. You see, do you understand where I'm taking it? And he can dangle the carrot of this too can be yours to pull the best out of these guys. Well, on the NFL level, those guys already have all that. So now the question really becomes, quite honestly, that's what I'm saying with Sean Payton. The truth of the matter is like, will the message stick? He's a very gruff guy. I was talking to a buddy though who kind of helped me put it to rest, which is like, it's probably going to be Belichick that makes it to Dallas. I could see that's what Jerry would want. I'm like, I could see that. You know what I mean? But still, just putting it out there because it's like if they draft Shador, and they might be in the position to, what do you do with Dax? With Dax? Anyway, let me. This is the conversation that I saw that was like, hold on, um, Rex Ryan. God damn it, he put that out there. Yeah, I think this was it. He put that out there, and it just, I didn't see it. I didn't see that coming. I didn't think about it. You know, like, oh yeah, Prime in Dallas, and then they were talking about it on ESPN. Oh no, I mean, when it comes to weapons, their running back situation is abysmal. I'm not a fan. Nah, that ain't it, bruh. I mean, this offense, you almost wonder just like, what would this offense have been like if they would have been able to convince Dylan Edwards to stay? Whatever it was, and I know Dylan seemed like he wanted to get home. He wanted to be closer to home. I hope that that's all that it was. I go into my little armchair psychologist, speculative. Dylan seems very understated. I'll just say it like that. He seems very understated. Maybe the Flash, as it's proven to be for a couple of guys, the Flash might have been a little much. You know what I mean? I don't know if I don't know if Dylan fit the mold when it came to that part. And last year I was waiting for those breakout games. I was waiting for it, and you saw flashes of it. He's not. He's a smaller stature back, so he's not going to be the guy that you turn it around and. But out of the shotgun where they play a lot, Jesus, RPO, like Jesus. Because I'm telling you this right now, if CU's offense had a running game it could count on, my God, they had that boneheaded ass. They almost shit the game away on Saturday, trying to stack some, pat some stats, and you look up, and then it's just like sputter stall, sputter stall. Here comes Tech, and a game that was well in hand. You could tell they started smelling themselves. And a game that was well in hand finished way closer, for the most part, than my than my butthole could. It was puckered. We'll just say that everybody was a little tense. He's got a good thing going in Boulder. Let me let this finish out because they started talking about much of what this is why. Now what's about to happen is why I hate Rex Ryan because I don't think that this was. I would have to look and see the time of those postings. I'm fairly sure that Rex Ryan said that yesterday. And here's Dion. And right then is when I was like, fuck. Do I think that Stephen A. Smith has Dion's ear? No, I don't. Not like that. I don't think he's in his circle of advisors. But we all listen. Everybody's listening. Hey. The conversation continued. Damn that. And what you talking about? Who's we? Who is we? And what do you consider thinking? Why? But I get it. I remember there was a time, and we're going to talk about this guy later. There was a time when Carmelo Anthony, who I want to revisit in this go round, in this stream, we're going to talk about Carmelo Anthony. I personally think that the Nuggets need to, right now, they should be like, take your time, start working out. But we need you, bro. And there's a chip and a jersey retirement ceremony waiting on you. Let's patch this thing up. We'll get to that. There was a time though, right before the building of the Big Three, or around the Big Three era, right after LeBron was like, "I'm taking my talents to South Beach." The question was, could you recruit players to Denver to come play with Melo? When it was on the wall that the team had plateaued, the contract, and then they ended up bringing guys in, but by then it was a little. I think the writing was on the wall. And it was like, you can't get people to want to go play in Denver. You're not going to get young black guys. I used to say, nobody want to go. It wasn't that kind of city. The early 2000s, the early aughts. There's something to be said about where guys want to be, where guys, feel comfortable because they're not just players and coaches. They're people. And when Stephen A. said that, I was like, ugh. Because then ego comes into play. You know what I mean? Like, and could Dion be cajoled, convinced that Boulder can't handle your shine? It's not big enough. Boulder can't encompass your greatness. And I'm like, is that a sales pitch that would, that would work? Is that a sales pitch that would sort of turn the tide on what I believe is like, because from a college football standpoint, Palo Alto, damn USC, because maybe storied program, no ties, by the way. No ties, by the way. I'm just talking about places to be. First of all, California is a shit place to live. So as a matter of fact, take all in. I'd say Palo Alto, but if you're gonna be in Palo Alto, you might as well be in Boulder. Personally. Yeah, all things considered. So Stanford's out. I don't see Stanford. Then it's like, okay, his native Florida State, where he went, but it's like you'd have to live in Tallahassee for some measure of time. And I don't give a damn who you are. No, thank you. He is a Florida guy. So the Florida schools are in there. Miami, you know, the Gators, maybe. Truthfully speaking, it's like, do you want to go Tuscaloosa? When you start whittling it down, it's such a it's such a great fit for Prime and Boulder that I don't see any college situation except for the University of Texas. One of them Texas schools. And I ain't talking about Tech because you'd have to live in Lubbock. I'm not talking about Baylor because you'd have to live in Waco. I'm not talking about A&M because I mean, College Station. I've never been there, but that might not be too bad for Prime Day. I mean, it's closer to the house. It's just closer to the crib. He has a home in Texas. UT is probably, because I'm pretty sure his home is in Dallas or outside of Dallas. UT is probably the best fit when you're talking about program that's got enough money to spend, you know, so your NIL situation, because that's the landscape of college football now. It's like, where's the bread? Because you got the bread now, you can legally pay the players. That's what it is. Legalized. It's the minor leagues for professional football. So it's like, okay, who can foot the bill? What places fit the bill? There's not many, to be honest. Was he gonna go rebuild Arkansas? No. Boulder. Boulder, man. And then Stephen A starts talking this bullshit. Because Prime also has an ego. And I do know he loves coaching his son. I do know that, when you watch their relationship, you can tell. I'm not trying to read in anything, but you watch Bucky's content, you just see the relationship that he has with each one of his kids, and his relationship with Shador is, you call him grown. His relationship with Shador is fun to watch. They're kind of the same. I know he's seasoned, and it doesn't hurt that Shador is really, really good at football. Not to say he would spurn any of his children for not. I'm just saying. It's like, but you think they built all that and all this gear and all that? Everything that you see. He's got a different sweatshirt every day of the week. Black and gold. They re-released the Dion's. Black and gold. It's like he's bought into seemingly sitting in that. So you'd have to put together a mean package, I feel like, to get him out of Boulder. And this is where I'm looking at you, Rick George. I'm looking at you to do your job. Now you got to handle. You got to do your big one. You did it, but now you got to do your big one. You got to think bigger. You have to think bigger than Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Hold on. Let me let anyway. Whoa, pause. Big D. Pause as pause. Yeah, we know that ears. Paul Feinbaum is an Alabama honk, rolls and roll damn tap. Alabama honk, non hater. But at a certain point in time, you got to kiss the ring. And I think, and here's the other thing, I think college football, the old the old boys network, is dying for Dion to get out of the game. You know why? Because you won't out. There will be no one. This is the other part. As long as he stays in college football, mark my words. 11/11, November 11th, 2024. As long as he stays in college football, at least over the course of the next decade, if he wins, you're going to be hard pressed to out recruit that guy. They'll not that he'll get everybody, but he will have his pick of the litter of the best, especially if he builds a winner up there, because that's how that goes anyway, right? The best programs always get the 4 and 5 star recruits, and if the trajectory keeps heading the way that it's heading, well, it only stands to reason that he's just going to get more talent up there in Boulder. They're not going to have to get it all out of the portal. You're going to have kids that would be willing to go there, quite honestly, and wait it out a season or two to get a chance to start, especially if the money's good and you know that the program's high profile. I'm talking about a program that has, I don't know, its own. I'm talking to you, Rick George, a program that has its own TV deal, a la Notre Dame. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last. And you get that. Who do you think you get that TV deal through? This nigga don't have one. This nigga don't have two TV shows right now. Hold on, let me ask my trusty dusty assistant. What are the television shows Deion Sanders has on? I don't think he's still on Undisputed. Hold on. Coach Prime. Yeah. I'm for the other one. Yeah, let me see. This is Deion Sanders IMDb. Damn it, Dylan. Maybe Dylan comes back. Oh shit. Man, listen. Oh Hirsch. Listen. So this is where it's like you see all that. And there's another one. I just saw, I didn't even know. There's another show that he has. What other what other TV show is Dion Sanders? Fight, 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 fight. Fuck him up. Go see you. Coach Prime. We got time today? Is that what it is? Are you this dude? This yeah, it's on Tubi. I thought so. Deion Sanders, we got time today. This cat is there aren't there's nobody like Prime, bro. It's fucking stupid. There's nobody like Prime, bro. Let's see if there's a trailer for it. Yeah, this one. I don't. Oh, it's a talk show. Okay. So okay. So look what we're talking about. Now let me go back to Paul Feinbaum and company. Um, because what you're talking about is, oh, he. Let me let them finish with their. Don't nobody care about none of that goddamn. Don't nobody care about that because you know what Paul Feinbaum and most Burrs want. They want him out of college football ASAP because they are aware. They are well aware. As long as he's in college football, recruiting is going to be hard for like his love Alabama. It's going to be hard to out recruit CU. It's not that Alabama won't still get Alabama caliber players because there's only so many positions. There's only so many positions on the football field, right? 11 on offense, 11 on defense, 11 on special teams. There's only so many recruits that are going to be willing to sit for so long on your bench, waiting for a chance to be one of those 11, one of those starting 11. But when your coach has not one, no, not one, two primetime television shows or two television shows. And it stands to reason that his star will continue to rise. You can pay players now. So do you think thought exercise? It's not outside of the realm of possibility if he's got a talk show with that young lady, Rocky. If he's got a talk show with her, why can't he have his own quarterback or his own running back or his own? You feel what I'm saying? The more you get seen as a player, the more your profile rises, the more radar that you're on, the more high profile the program, the more of a radar you're on. Your games are always seen. It makes it a lot easier for recruits. Now the best guys are always going there. So it almost becomes an NFL factory. That's what CU used to. There was an NFL factory for a while there. The Coach McCartney years, Put a lot of guys in the NFL. A lot of guys. Nigga, let me let Paul Feinbaum be. He says it's too hard to manage the portal. Ain't nobody worried about all that. Because the thing that Prime doesn't have to worry about is he don't have to. He's not purporting himself to be the quote unquote X and O's guy. And I know he's just involved. You're talking about one of the greatest corners ever. So it's not that he doesn't have any opinions on how defense should be. And he was obviously just one of the greatest athletes ever offensively. He knows how to run a route. He knows what he likes to see. He knows what works on either side of the ball. It's not that he's without contribution. Don't get that twisted. I'm just saying he has a great leader, enables other leaders, delegates. He prays. He didn't mean to say, I don't think. Paul Feinbaum is saying, I pray, please, 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 Jerry Jones, if you love me, if you have any love for me and the fabric of white man dominance on the college football level, I'm kidding. If you have any love for me at all, please come get this nigga. Please come get this brother. What do you mean was? They're already. This is where, and the only thing I'm questioning is what side of the line is Prime, because we don't hear this a lot. I don't think I've ever heard him say he wanted to coach Shador forever. I think he wanted to see his son through probably the toughest part of football for a quarterback is where you end up coaching wise on the college level, because that is what prepares you, and how, obviously how you perform. It doesn't really matter how you perform. It matters the kind of coaching that you're getting. Are you getting pro type coaching that will take you to the next level? And he wanted to ensure that with his son. Now, does he want to follow his son to the NFL? Everybody keeps telling me that that's what they think he wants. And it sounds like it makes sense until I put it through my bullshit meter. And then I'm just kind of like, no, that's what you think that he wants because he's so close with his son. But doesn't he look like he's already comfortable in Boulder? Now, a TV show can move you with you wherever you go. He could do the talk show just as well in Dallas, Fort Worth, in DFW as he could here. Well, there, in Boulder. The Coach Prime show, that might have to go, because if I'm not mistaken, Hard Knocks, I'm quite sure HBO Hard Knocks would not allow that. They're like, that's our deal. We're working this side of the street. We do reality football television. We have a contract with the NFL to do it. So that stops now. Which, maybe he, all things considered, it's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't think that's the case. I think he enjoys these things because more than anything, they are recruiting tools. More than anything, they will keep a pipeline. And for a guy, this is what I know about. I'll play a video. Youth football coaches are the best. I have a Reacts video that I'm gonna show. And it's about a 30-minute documentary about these youth football coaches in Los Angeles. We can watch it together. I'll put it on here in a second, matter of fact. Well, let's get through. Yeah, no, we can put it on. Carmelo Anthony stuff I can get back to. Youth football coaches. I'm not talking about high school football coaches. I'm talking about youth football coaches. There are two types. They're the ones who are just coaching youth football, and then there are the ones who coach traveling teams, and they're really trying to prepare the young stars, the young 4- and 5-star recruits of tomorrow to go on to their high school career, and then off they go into it. It's almost like AAU basketball. And it's all about being able to get the best players from around your area. And they're on these traveling football teams. You might play over here with this certain squad, but you're also on my traveling squad. And we go everywhere. And we play against the best in the nation. And that's where Deion started. And the whole point of having a great traveling team is obviously you got to be able to get a hold of the best talent in your area. It's a recruiting thing, is what I'm saying. College football, again, a recruiting thing. NFL ain't recruiting anymore. It's paying guys, dealing with guys who have millions of dollars in their contracts, watching guys come and go based on free agency. It's just a different beast. Now you're dealing with the paid athlete. Now guys get paid on the college level, but again, it's different. He's still impressive. I don't know if what he's selling outside of X's and O's, do you know what the hell we're doing or not? Because them messages run dry real quick, real quick to guys who are making millions of dollars. Like, I don't need your rah-rah. Are we winning or not? At least for the ones that care about winning, is all I'm saying. So it's like, again, every time he's on TV, every time he's on TV, especially in these men. Not the commercials are one thing. The Affleck, that's just kind of cool. Like, look at Coach. But that Coach Prime show, that's a stealth business maneuver. That's a calling card. Because, I mean, is Prime flashy? Yes. Does he love himself? Absolutely. Does he know what he's doing? I guarantee. So when Paul Feinbaum says that, I think he knows exactly what he's got a hold of. He found a situation that he couldn't have had. Now, he will run across. I was watching something with Dr. Umar earlier today, and he was it was his breakfast, not his breakfast club. He was on Joe Budden podcast, and they're talking about Prime came up, and they were talking about, his leaving Jackson, how he failed HBCUs, how he could have built what he built in Boulder, down in Jackson, Mississippi. No, he couldn't have. All due respect, no, he couldn't have, for a myriad of reasons. One, them black folks had a hold of him and already started cheating them out of things that they said they were going to do. So that automatically out the gate just says, like, you're not serious. Y'all still trying to nickel and dime. Y'all still trying to nonprofit your way through this. Do you, one out of every one out of every three black-owned nonprofits is hustling. It's not just black-owned. One out of every three nonprofits is a hustle. Somebody who's like, yeah, we're not for profit, trying to get to this money. Trying to get my hands on this money. You know the state's giving out money? Did they tell you the state's giving out money? And all I got to do is help these poor, wayward motherfuckers. All I got to do to get my hands on this money is come up with some programs that's going to help these poor, destitute, insalubrious, untrained, uncouth, wayward motherfuckers, and they give you money. They give you money. Point but not the point. Jackson wasn't going to be it. I'm sorry. I've been to Jackson, Mississippi. It wasn't going to happen. The alumni, the situation just was not ready. What Rick George did, and you heard him say it in that little trailer, was they put an eye on Rick George. I tell you this, you got 75% of it done. Now you need to get the other 25, which is lock him up. And to me, you don't have to give him any more money per se. I think it's make a move that shows him we're thinking. And I would be surprised, to be quite honest with you, if they're not already talking about this. I would be shocked. But hell, let me be the smartest man in the room. I don't mind. I'd be shocked if it's not already being talked about. Look, Prime, we're already carrying Coach Prime series. We're already carrying that. You know that Coach Prime comes on Prime, as in Amazon, as in Jeff Bezos, as in arms long enough to box with Financial God. They've got them. They've got money. They've got money. Many monies. 100 million to carry the most magnetic. See, here's the other thing. What do they call it? What do they call the Cowboys? America's team. CU's following has grown by leaps and bounds. CU's got every college football interested, at least black person, who didn't have a school to call their own, which is a lot of us. They're Prime fans. They're Boulder fans. CU gear is probably selling out the in every state. There's probably a new outcropping. Where there's black folk, there's probably a new outcropping. They got a new little enclave of Scobuff fans. The Dallas Cowboy effect. And as college football grows in notoriety, and I do believe that it will, I do think that with the paying of the players, I think with the restructuring of the college bowls, the college playoff system, which I do believe there's another two restructurings left where they're going to improve it and then get to that level where it's like you probably are going to be looking at something like at some point in time. I think the conferences are going to die. It's just too Paul Feinbaum. It's old. It doesn't play no more. What works better is an opportunity for everyone from pretty much the beginning of the year to play their way up to the playoffs. Whether it's 120 programs and relegation for other teams below that 100, whether it's 80 programs and relegation for the teams just below that 80 to come up, you're winning on a consistent basis keeps you up in the conversation as to who's eligible to go. How many? Let's see. Let's count programs. I don't have to do it. I got an assistant to do it for me. Counting all of the majors, how many college football programs are there that are D1? Counting all the majors, not your just your major conferences. How many football programs are there total? Okay, so we're talking about that 130. Obviously, once you get below out of the top 100, these are programs that really don't have a shot, do they? So what I'm saying is that instead of the Big Ten, the Big 12, a bunch of conferences that no longer makes geographical sense, right? The Big 12 used to cover all the Midwest. Big 12 was mountain, and down into the Panhandle South. The Pac 12 was obviously the Pacific Coast 12. The ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, was all coastal. The Big East was all teams in the East. You know what I mean? There were geographical because these were student athletes, right? These are student athletes who you can't have traveling cross country and doing all that. They're supposed to be going to school. They're supposed to still be going to class. Supposed to be. They're supposed to still be going to class. I mean, whatever. I'm just saying that now that you've mixed up these conferences and you got A&M plays in the SEC, Southeastern Conference. You got, teams that were once in the Big East are playing in the Big 12 or playing in the it's nutty. Toss 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 the conferences out. If you do keep them, it's obligatory at best, more like divisions. You feel me? Not each one with its own. Well, I guess, but when you think about it in the NFL, it's like you got to win your conference championship. So it still works. I still think it's too many schools. Either way, a restructuring of college football leaves you in a position where, hell, if there are teams that stay and they keep it in that conference, what does that do to Notre Dame's chances of being able to win a national championship? Nothing, because they can still make the college football playoff. That means an independent can make it. And if CU is smart, if Rick George and them are smart, and I do believe they are, they're already trying to work out a situation where CU can say, "Thanks, thanks Big 12, we won your championship. We're out of here. We're going independent." You can schedule whom. I'm talking about the greatest show on turf type shit. Schedule whomever you want, whenever you want. Play at home, play on the road. I'm talking about the greatest. He has an opportunity to build in Boulder something that college football I don't think has ever seen. There's always been powerhouse programs, but not to this extent. I'm talking about the spectacle of it all. It'd be like taking Notre Dame, but better. It's like Black Notre Dame. I'm trying to think of one thing you could compare it to where he is such a lightning rod for attention and interest, genuine interest and support. You just have never seen anything like this. And Paul Feinbaum and them know it. They're like, please get the hell out of college football. Please. We won't be able to get 4 and 5 star recruits until after you're done picking up what you want, and then we all get the rest. I'm telling you, that's where this is headed. With enough money, if they go independent and they get a TV deal with Prime, if they get a TV deal with Prime, it's a wrap. Like no lettuce, it's a wrap. You don't need boosters when you have $100 million contract of your own. You don't need them. Notre Dame is in talks with NBC right now. Hold on, I can tell you. My assistant can tell you, but what do you know about, or give me the most latest, the most recent news about Notre Dame and their TV deal negotiations with NBC? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I ask you, if boring ass Notre Dame is worth a reality series, $50 million, and a contract through 2029 with NBC, what are you willing to give Coach Prime in Boulder with a TV partner that he already has? It just makes sense. And these guys, I don't know who put this panel up to talk about this like it is, but it sounds like a pitch that's like it just makes all the sense in the world. It'd be stupid for him not to go to Dallas. It'd be dumb for him to. The pressures, the benefits, the payoffs are all different on the NFL level. You can't demand certain things of your players on the NFL level that you can demand of a college kid. If the Dallas Cowboys, that's number one. Now, would it be a challenge though for Dion to think that he can come in and turn around the Cowboys? I mean, I see it all there. I see it. And winners love a challenge. Winners love a challenge. His son's leaving. There's no reason to stay in Boulder, to be quite honest with you, after Shooter is gone. After Travis is gone, his job is literally Shiloh's gone. His job's done. Now, all them kids who jumped into that portal and followed him there, though, but do you really owe them anything? You don't. What's Coach Prime's current contract with the University of Boulder? Do you see it? So you gotta. So he would. I think you gotta back up the Brinks. You gotta play right now. If you're Rick George, what did you want? You wanted a 2 3 year ride out of it? Hell no. Hell no. You ain't got Jerry Jones money. But again, money's not everything to a man who already has a ton of it. And Dion's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of money. I'm not counting his pockets. I'm just saying I know the brother's doing well. But you could always be doing better for sure. So before you allow yourself to get beat out by deeper pockets, I think it's really about showing him I'm going to enable. I'm going to do everything. If I'm Rick George, my message to Coach Prime is I am doing everything in my power to make sure that you can do what you love to do more than anything, which is win. And we're going to do that threefold. And I don't, again, like I said, if they're not already talking about this, I'll be glad to be the one to just put me on the staff. If it's not already being talked about, how they can ink a TV deal akin to Notre Dame and NBC with Dion's television partner already. He got a show on Tubi, and that man's got a show on Prime. That just makes sense. To not do it is just dumb. Prime already carries sports. So now they're no longer held within network. Now it's just kind of like if you're a fan of CU, you can watch in state, you can watch. Out of state, get Prime. Win-win for both entities. What? That's not the one I wanted. That should just make sense. That just makes sense. And I am a bit of a tinfoil hat where it just seems like I could tell Paul Feinbaum is like, get him the hell out of college football, please. Now, see what he's saying is what Shannon's saying is, oh, there's no boosters in Colorado to be able to do that. NIL switches that up. As long as you got the money coming in, you can have your pick of the litter. And by the way, see you especially after this year, the endowments and the oh my god, the booster donations are going to quintuple. He's already got, I guarantee you, all of Buff fan faithful. He's already got all of them locked in. Oh, this brother got us winning at a clip like, I mean, we're about to go and play in the Big 12 championship. Well, how much you need? What's the check? Lots of prestigious alum come from the CU Boulder. That part was compelling to me. It's like, yeah, what type of year is Dak Prescott having? God damn. God damn Rex Ryan. It's Rex Ryan's fault. This isn't an idea that Stephen A has on his own. I like Stephen A. I like Stephen A. But he hates the Cowboys. And as soon as it was said, he was like, "Oh, that's gonna be great for my show." And I'm like, I mean, I know Prime's his own man. I know Prime's his own man. But things get floated out. Damn, the Dolphins is the power of suggestion compels you. Now, if I'm Jerry Jones and them, I also am like, I'll try Belichick first. That's personal. Not that Prime's not, but it's like you've already got a bad thing. You know what would make it worse? You know what would really make it worse? I mean, no one can force him to sell the team. You could definitely lobby that man to stop making the decisions as far as being the general manager, though. What would make it worse is if you bring a circus to town like Prime and gold and chains and to give me my thing. I don't think he wants it. I don't think he wants, not that he doesn't want to win. I don't think that is what does it for him. I think there's a part of him that really does love love the ability or the opportunity to help young men grow. I really do believe that about him. If you just watch him, and it's things that I wouldn't have ever thought, because what do I know? I don't know Deion Sanders. I just know from the outside. I know the flash. But seeing the type of father that he is, seeing the way he talks to his players, you'd have to watch a lot of well-off media and stuff to see it. There's a dad there. There's a everybody's dad there that is perfect for college students. It's perfect for college football. It's perfect for young men who are poised to go on and make themselves a really good living playing professional football or coaching on a certain level or all of the things, building the type of program that just keeps turning out guys who are doing well in life. I think that is as thrilling to him as anything. He's already got a Super Bowl, so it's not like you need another one of those. Oh, I want it from a coaching level. It's like, no, I got that. I've won on every level. So now the question is where do I want to be? Where do I want to be that helps me be the coach that I want to be, that helps me be the man amongst other men, the leader that I want to be? Where's that place? I think it's a college. I think it's a college job. First of all, ain't no love on the pro level of sports. So I think it's a college job. But then the question becomes, okay, where is that perfect spot? Where's the sweet spot where everything comes together? Why would you leave what you've already built? But prematurely, mind you, after year two, to go and be the head coach of the abysmal Dallas Cowboys. I was gonna look up Dak Prescott's number. Damn, Kirk Cousins is okay. Bronco fan, you might have your hands full. Kirk's putting in his work. Where's Dak at? See, Dak got that albatross around his neck too. That contract. Dak in that contract. Where him is? 17th, 86 QBR. Hmm. 11 TDs, 8 interceptions. Holy shit. I mean, they're not talented. They're not good. So the question is like, how much do you believe in Dak? Dak could eat no fat. Prime don't need to go nowhere. And ESPN, all y'all ESPN prognosticators, shut it. The fuck? Don't nobody need to hear all that. So before we get to that, I do want to talk about this season and how it's going to end. And you're hard pressed right now. 3 games left on the schedule. Utah just took BYU to the wire. Still has something to play for. Nah, they're 4-6. They still got pride. They've lost 5 in a row. There's no reason to believe that they shouldn't lose 6 in a row. But don't let it jump up at the crib. Like, this is your trap game. This is your trap game. Most would say, "Oh no, it's at Kansas." I don't think so. While I've seen enough to know that Kansas is playing really good football, um, just because that win that they had against Iowa State is like, okay, but in general, that's Iowa State's problem. Kansas got an offense. That's Iowa State's problem. To me, Utah's your trap game. The last two, Oklahoma State is like, don't fall asleep. Don't do what we saw them do. And I think what was instrumental about the fourth quarter of the Texas Tech game is I think that they got a taste of, you fuck around, you could fuck this up. You fuck around, you're gonna find out. Handle your business. Down the stretch there's no time for you. Wait until the season's over to congratulate yourself. Wait, finish your food. And it's on the table right now. 18 in the AP. That's what the ranking was for CU. 18 in the AP. 20, I want to say, in the coaches poll. That's just hate. Yeah. 20 in the coaches poll. 18. So they got the coaches ranked 8-1, Washington State over. And here, where's this conversation? I'll say. As a program, here it is. Their record. And that's without Jimmy Horn. Jimmy got hurt in that game. I'm rooting for Jimmy Horn. I just like him. He doesn't get nearly enough targets. I don't know why that is. But what I can say is he's shown maturity and not complaining about that. I don't know if Jimmy is a come out. I think that injury is probably a comeback next year type of deal for him, and he's making. I love NIL for one reason is that guys. Jimmy Horn Jr. has one of them stories. He is one of them guys who's like, I got to get to the NFL to get to this money because my family could use it. And his dad just got sentenced and incarcerated. I believe it was like right before the season, if not during the season. Like he's going through a hard thing off the field. And you could tell Prime's got love for him. And I think that in any other circumstance, now he did get injured, so it's kind of like you got to run, go get that money because your shit's on the line. That's different now with NIL. He can afford to say, okay, I'm getting some cheddar. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have to go running off the NFL. I got another year to develop. And I think that the one thing that NIL does do is that it's going to stop the. I think college football is taking its rightful place, quite honestly, as the official pro football minor leagues. Like the official guys are getting paid at least some modicum. You know, it's a lot different for a college football athlete through all 133 of them schools. None of them dudes is missing a meal, right? Automatically off top, you got three hots in the cot. Better than. So as long as you're scholarshiped, and I think the scholarships are only going to increase because of NIL and the monies that are available to start. You know, a scholarship ain't nothing but money that's going straight to the school, where it could be going in your pocket. You know, obviously paying for your education, but I don't think Jimmy Horn Jr. needs to be concerned with. Let me run off to the NFL this year. So their offensive weapon package is just like if you could get anything out of those backs, I'm just like man, because last year they were offensive line wise, they were 10x worse in the opposite direction of what you see of them now, and that's what I think made it hard for Dylan. Because if you just saw the game, if you saw the games last year, there was no room. Just similar to pretty much how this year started, there was just no room to run the ball. Now I think that their offensive line is playing a little better. You got two backs that just don't have no burst. Like when you watch, there's no shift, there's no burst. When you watch Augustavi, I'm quite sure who's probably a wonderful young man, wonderful kid. When you watch him carry the ball, there's no burst. And whoever number 7 is, I don't remember his last name, but it's similar. He squeezed it through. That's good. 23-12 Dolphins. It's similar. It's just kind of like, it would just be one more, you know, weapon for Shador. Yeah, their offense complete, and the defense has gotten better week after week. Fought back to it on the road. Nebraska. It happened in the fourth quarter, and but in the fourth quarter, it was more so. It felt like, oh, we got this one salted away. So now let's have some fun. This ain't time for that. This ain't time for let's have some fun. This is handle your this is finish your food. And in doing so, you get those gains. You get those gains that are hard to come by when it's going well, which is, that step into professionalism. Well, when it's all going well, you got all the cameras, you're the talk of the town, everybody thinks you're the bee's knees. The bee's knees. I really just said that. Holy shit. Everybody thinks you're the bee's knees. Just walking around Boulder. Oh, yeah, he's the bee's knees. What? The fuck? Finish your food. Simple. Squeaked one out. Came down to a field goal for BYU. That was a point that. Let me let him finish. Hey, uh, Army's been playing their asses off. I was trying to talk shit. Army's been playing their ass off. Who they beat though? Who they beat though? Yeah, it comes to a close on NBC this Saturday. Was that this Saturday? No, today's the 11th. So a week from now they got to buy. We need Army to lose that game. Not that I think that there's really a question. Um, so let's assume Army loses and CU wins out. Let's see Boise State's remaining schedule. Boise State's going to win out. They got Oregon State to end the year. It's tough. It's tough to see. It's tough to see CU hopping higher than what's SMU's final remaining schedule. Mm. Miami took a big loss. Yeah, that Georgia Tech loss was huge. I mean, right now, 4-5 Oregon State stands to reason that Boise's not going to lose. I haven't seen San Jose State play, so I can't really offer an opinion. It's really hope. This is fan hope. I'm just trying to see teams that they could leapfrog over. Oh, Miami's abysmal. I'm just trying to see teams that will remaining schedule will drop them back. And as long as CU continues to win, although they won't be beating sort of high caliber opposition, the fact of winning just so Miami will win out. More than likely, if you're the Buffs, you can guarantee yourself, barring, I don't know, BYU has to slip up down the stretch. What's their remaining schedule? Yeah, they're going to beat these three teams. I mean, if BYU gets a scare, I mean, they just barely survived by the skin of their asses against this Utah team that CU plays, which tells you enough about Utah. It's it's possible that you could see the Buffs finish somewhere around here, but I don't. I mean, you'd have to talk about Miami taking a loss somewhere down the stretch. Don't see that happening. What's so crazy, and it's probably it's strength of schedule based, is that the 2-loss SEC phenomena is just like, well, it's the SEC, and it's like, yeah, but still a 2-loss squad. You got 3 2-loss SEC teams cluttered at 9, 10, 11 in both polls. And it's, it'll be strength of schedule. Wisconsin, I mean, they play some powerhouses. I mean, look at Wisconsin's schedule. I mean, look at Alabama's schedule, including USF. But after USF, it was, because you play in the SEC. So there's a stumble in here somewhere, I think, left for Bama. Maybe it's against Auburn. Nope. Auburn, I mean, that's just War Eagle. It's that is their soup. That's their playoff team. And Oklahoma. Son on a dog's ass. Oklahoma was supposed to be better this year. I'm going to say that the Buffs will finish this year somewhere around 16. Army's going to lose. That'll drop them back. Clemson has South Carolina. I could see that being a loss. So Clemson, I think Clemson's got another loss in them. Okay. Clemson has to play 18 pit. So let's say Clemson takes a loss in one of their last 3 games. That'll make them a 3-loss team. You're automatically, obviously, slide behind CU, so that gives you 17. Imagine the amount of hatred that the coaches must have. Like, let me see Washington State's schedule. Sorry. They beat Texas Tech. They drubbed Texas Tech. Early in the season, though. CU lost to Texas Tech. They beat Washington. I don't know, man. I just know coaches are hating on Prime. I just know it. I just know that you could say, oh, it's the media. It's coaches because they know, like we all know, he represents something that there's always been great coaches on the recruiting floor. There's always been that coach that's like, God, you don't want to recruit against that guy. I'm quite sure Nick Saban or whoever, name the guy that was running the program that was, everybody's everything. Come on, man. College football hasn't seen a guy like this ever. And it shows in the response that he gets, depending upon who you're asking. It shows in the response that he gets. And I think that guys like Paul Feinbaum or media members that dislike Prime probably have some relationship close with a coach that dislikes him. You know, there's the traditionalist, and then there's the guys who are like, I got time for it. He's doing his thing. It doesn't bother me. Look, this kid from Miami, Mike McDaniel, it's fun to watch. Like it's like a gamer. It's like a guy who's really good at Madden got a hold of an NFL. So tight. I'm going to say that CU's going to finish. Army's going to lose to Notre Dame, so that just drops them out of. They should be somewhere outside of the top 20. A&M. What's their remaining schedule? A&M still has number 5 Texas on the end of their schedule, so that would mean I'm going to say let's just go with a CU friendly finish to the season. A&M loses to Texas last game of the season, so now they've got 3 losses. They can't be in front of CU, and we're saying CU wins out. So that slots you above them. If the 3 teams Obviously, if the three teams in front of CU loses, you're talking about a two-loss CU team at 15. At that point in time, I'm telling you right now, what that guy said about the selection committee not picking CU, well, unfortunately for, you know, purist football honk, sex sells. It's all about who's going to put butts in the seats. And the selection committee is dying to have CU play in the playoff. Please believe it. Please believe it. It's just great for ratings. For the ones that hate him and want to see him fail, they're watching just as much as the ones who love him. It's might be the most remarkable turnaround in it might be the most remarkable turnaround in the history of sport. You'd have to give me one better. You could say, "Oh, what the kid's doing in Indiana, that's a great turnaround." Sure, okay. What was Indiana last year? I think they were probably abysmal. Damn, they're undefeated too. Let me see. 2023 IU football. They were 3-9. It's a pretty big turnaround. 112th out of 133 teams in 2023, and then they're undefeated the next year. Not bad. Well played, sir. It's a down Big 12, and let's hope. I hate OSU. This seemed like a down year for the Big Ten too. Am I tripping? What's the combined record? What's the combined win-loss record for the Big Ten this year in college football? What's the combined win-loss record for all the teams though in the Big Ten? Do the math. $42-10 outside of the conference. I was going to say this is a down year in the Big Ten. I mean, Michigan's bad. Imagine UCLA in the Big Ten. This is what I'm saying. USC in the Big Ten. It's like, it's done. Get rid of these conferences. They're barely holding on. They're barely holding on as a Rutgers is in the Big Ten. Like, they're barely holding on. I will say this. The turnaround in Indiana is remarkable. You can't take anything away from that coach. Can't take anything away from what they're doing. And he's building something, from what I hear, he's building something there. For whatever reason, there's a god awful amount of money in Bloomington, Indiana. And so he's built something there. Cool. Better turnaround than what we've seen in Boulder. 1-11 a year ago, a season ago, not last year, but the season before. Then you finished 4-7 last year. And this year now you are poised to finish with 2 losses. 2 losses, hopefully a Big 12 championship because they're going to play BYU. So 2 losses, a Big 12 championship, and then a berth. Like, come on. What's not to love? Rick George, I'm looking at you, bud. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Lock this thing up, man. Lock this thing up. Look at it's so crazy. Iowa State shit the bed, threw themselves out of contention with that loss to Kansas. I wonder what that means. Like, does Kansas State own the tiebreaker? Because, like, how does that work? This sets up perfect. Kansas State has to play ISU to end the season. ISU knowing they can't lose another game. This just sets up so perfect for the Buffs to control their destiny, win out, play in the Big 12 championship, and you just take your chances. You take your chances against a Kansas team that's like. I'll tell you this, from an offensive standpoint, there is nothing. If I'm not mistaken, BYU runs the ball tremendously. That's their calling card. Let me see. I know they got one of those chopper doing circles. It's a bird. Bird. I guess it's really there all around, huh? Jake Reslaf. 142 QBR. He's throwing for 18 touchdowns, seven picks though. Come on. Oh. Chopper doing circles. It's a bird. Bird. I'm trying to see what Shador's standard is. 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Shador's killing it. He's going to have a 3,000-yard passing season, well over. I like their chances against a BYU team. I haven't seen BYU play enough to be able to say definitively that I just know that they're that much better of a team than CU because they're undefeated. There's not a better turnaround. You finish the season at 15. You finish the season at 15. Maybe higher? Nah. You finish the season at 15. You play in the Big 12 championship. You upset BYU, which isn't really an upset because we're not talking about a perennial powerhouse. BYU. And then there is no doubt in my mind. I think even if you lose in the Big 12 championship, no, it would be harder for the selection committee. You get penalized twice. That's what sucks about college football and the playoff system right now is that if your conference has a conference championship game, no matter how good of a season that you have, you lose the conference championship game, and then it's one extra game thrown in your schedule. You lose the conference championship game, and then that counts against you in terms of getting into the college football playoff. That's bullshit. That's horseshit. Well, I wish nothing but the best. Nothing but the best. Real tomato ketchup Betty? Yep, nothing but the best. I wish nothing but the best to Coach Prime and the Buffs. There's so much upside to him being in Boulder. There's so much upside to what the two. I think it's a great symbiotic relationship on what the unique situation that Boulder offers to him and the turnaround that he's given, you know, anybody interested in that program. It's just right now there's not a better story. There's not a better story. Let me find this. I'll be like, mm, I've got so much, and I want to watch that. I want to react to this. I want to react to this because I think. Well, before we get to that, I'm just going to put this out there. I just want to throw this out there. I really think Bo Jackson was. Watch this. What? Yes, sir. Prime wasn't no joke. I fucking love Prime, bro. It's crazy. I never thought I had never had reason to, right? I never had reason to be a Prime fan for what? You know what I mean? And you get to see it up close. It's just hard not to root for the dude. It's super hard not to root for the dude. And then obviously there's the buy-in because I've always been somewhat of a supporter of let's see, look at this monster. Oh, fucking maniac. I wanted to see this video of him and Shador. Yeah, I gotta start from the top. I gotta start from the top. If I'm gonna react to this. Here it is. I love their relationship. I mean, it's hard not to root for that family. It's hard not to root. It's just the greatest story in sports right now. Give me a better story in sports. Let's think. Patrick Mahomes, old news. It's really Caitlin Clark. I guess you could put Caitlin Clark up there. Just the success that she's had, and I think okay. Let me not say greatest, most intriguing stories in sports. Because greatest is like, what I mean, you throw it. Most intriguing, most compelling stories in sports. Caitlin Clark's story is compelling because it is in effect, dare I say, reverse racism. But I think it goes deeper than that because girls always have this, thing. They're always, ladies, you guys have a hard time, like, you know what I mean? Somebody else taking your shine a little bit. Like with Joker in the MVP race, I think that's another great story in sports. We've already been there already. And just as a side note, while I'm telling Rick George what to do with his time, Calvin Booth. Calvin, are you listening? Come here. Listen to me, Calvin. Here's what I need you to do. Because let me get this out of the way now. Um, when asked about the number of minutes that Mike Malone had Joker playing. 38 minutes a game is because of how many. I mean, we're not 10 games into the season, and you're already having to. It's just not. Anyway, he'll address it. Period. Done that. Good for PY. You know, that's Scott Hastings. Shout out to Hasty. I love the term. I know it's true. P. Watt young. P. White might be 21 now, maybe. Still learning how to play this game is crazy to me. And I get it, learning how to play on the pro level. And he's been much better. I was all over that dude. Like, what the fuck have you been doing all offseason? And it would seem like Aaron Gordon being injured, there is something to be said about what gets a guy going when it comes to playing time. And so this is valuable time for P. Watt. You know what I mean? Spell AG, let AG get better, get good minutes out of P. Watt, he's been able to do more on the court than I was giving him credit for out the gate. So my fucking mustache. You know what pisses me off? I don't want to, it doesn't matter what you think, but I keep doing this because my mustache hairs grow curled up into my nose. It's so annoying. You know what's more annoying? Shaving. I I I wanted facial hair so bad. It took me so long to get it. Like I didn't start growing facial hair until I was into my 30s. Straight up. Like I had a patchy weird. It's still you can tell it's still patchy. But I wanted facial hair so bad. Those guys look so cool. I was like, God, the guys with goatees, they look so cool, and I still look like I'm 14. Ah, and then once you start shaving, it's like, it's fine. The itch, you learn to put up with it because yeah, you're a man now. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. Now it's just a pain in the ass. But I know that we're animals too. These are your antenna. I try my best. For all men, you need to know. Like the whole analogy, Samson, or the fable, Samson. My strength is in my hair. Think of yourself like, do dogs shave their whiskers? Do dogs' whiskers serve a purpose? Cats' whiskers. Do they serve a purpose? They do. Animals' whiskers serve a purpose. Why do you think that humans are any different? We're not. I'm telling you, we're not. But these are your antenna. Your hair is your antenna. These are your antenna. If you can tap into it, they connect you with the world in ways that you don't fully understand. Having said that, having my mustache hairs curl into my nose is just maddening. It makes me want to tape my mustache down to my face. Just cellophane. Ugh. Fuck. Anyway, um, P Watt been playing better. Good on that young man. Good for you. I don't pay your bills. I don't pay your salary. There's a bomb for you and some applause. But playing Nikola Jokic extended minutes this early into the season is just troublesome for the end of the season. I have no doubt he's even better conditioned than I think we all give him credit for because he's kind of he's a doughy looking athlete. He's a doughier looking athlete. But you don't want to have him putting it all on the line. He plays every game that he's available for. He's no Joel Embiid. You don't want him going, 35 plus every night and have no real get up and go when it comes to going late into the playoffs, into the later rounds. Defense, such a stupid question. Apologize to Nikola for having to play him so many minutes. Okay, there are no dumb questions, but it's just poorly worded. You see what he gets paid? I mean, it's basketball. It's gym. It's not. I got other options off the bench, and I think Mike Malone is saying it. He's saying, "Go get me some help." I think that's a message to Calvin Booth. I think that right there is a message to Calvin Booth. I need help. Go get me some help. And he's right to put it out there like that. All I got, all you can expect, all you can expect from, all you can expect. Damn, all you can expect is for the coach to coach what he's got. And I understand Mike Malone from one specific standpoint, which is it's frustrating, I think, to have basketball players who don't make basketball their focus, who aren't professionals. And I think if if questioned, if polled, if you were able to be a fly on the wall, I would imagine that that has been part of the problem that he's had with some of the Nuggets younger players. Then he's just got guys on his bench that just don't help. I mean, number one, nobody expects DeAndre Jordan to be anything other than DeAndre Jordan, which in his in his heyday, I mean, a magnificent contributor. When it when he was really getting after it, um, he's a shell of himself, right? I was a much skinnier DeAndre Jordan, if you remember what he used to look like. And it's like, again, I just look at the Dario Sarches, and I would imagine that the way he plays, the amount of minutes that Dario Sarge doesn't get, I would imagine Mike Malone looks at Dario Sarge like, well, what was I supposed to do with this guy that you went out and just, oh, I need a guy. You, come on. I'm not trying to say I could do Calvin Booth's job, but I could do Calvin Booth's job. He is hamstrung by he's hamstrung by a couple of things. I'm not gonna act like he's not. He's got an ownership group that's like, we're not spending into the. I don't give a fuck about. Yes, win championships. Just do it on the budget. And it's like, yeah, and the NBA salary cap is a harder one to navigate, right? Um, Hold on, let's get our trusty. Explain the more difficult aspects of the NBA salary cap. Sign and trade. It's cool, Bill. Thank you. It's cool. Um, I just know Stan Kroenke is low. It sounds like that's been the case. That it's like under no circumstances are you to even think about going over the cap, right? So Calvin Booth is hamstrung in certain regards. Now that means that the money that you do spend make you care about the people you do like. Let me see. It's contracts. The problem, I think, is that, all things considered, the money that you spent, is there a lot of value, future value, not current value, future value? The Jamal contract is concerning. Not gonna lie. Now you could. It's not like you couldn't. it's like you had to pay him, right? Is there any reason on God's green earth though that Jamal Murray would have a contract like this as opposed to Nicola's contract? So we're talking about Hall of Famer without question, undoubtedly. Right now, put him in, and he'll get re-upped, and that contract will be bigger, obviously. But even right now, and I know Jamal just signed this deal. Like what? Michael Porter Jr.'s contract. Again, it's beneficial in terms of how long it is because they're only held with it for the next this season, next season, and the season after. But it's like there it remains to be seen if the value's there. But you don't want to piss them off because here's the problem: they won a championship, they won a chip, so it's like you got to pay guys, right? Aaron Gordon, this number never upsets me. I love Aaron Gordon. I love his game. I love what he brings to the table. He's a professional. Are there times when I feel like Aaron doesn't? No, I don't have a problem at all with Aaron Gordon. Good on them for signing him. These are the numbers that fucking kill you. This number is this is murder because of production. And I'm going to tell you who this should be in a second. And if not him, this one kills you. Murder. Murder. What is the mid-level exception number for NBA players? Now, for what it's worth, I'd be willing to package jettison. No, not you, not you, Vale. I know you will. Thank you, Vale. I appreciate you. I really do. Isn't she so sweet? Such a sweet lady. Such a sweet, artificially intelligent lady. Such a sweet, British accented, artificially intelligent, smart lady. Anyway, this one hurt because of injury. Julian Strother, good value. Obviously, he's a rook. Peyton Watson. I mean, he's not a rook, but he's a young player. Peyton Watson, you're getting good value there. Okay, here's the point. When I hear Mike Malone say, where can we get scoring off the bench? Because that's really what you need, right? It's not like you need another guy to come in and play defense. We're not trying to. It's not the first one to 98 wins, hold teams under. That's not score the basketball. And the Nuggets, if anything, we've all seen the non-Joker minutes. They're brutal. They are brutal. This isn't your, up and down, lake show built roster. Yes, you have Russell Westbrook there to push the pace, but there's just nothing around him to substantiate that at any given point in time. Should this be a team that has to be searching out guys that fit into that type of offense? So who do you go get? Who's out there that you can add to this roster? Uh, well, let's look. Current unsigned NBA free agents. Because I don't think you have the pieces to trade for anything that's worth trading for. Right? I don't think you have the pieces. that are not Nuggets. Oh my bad. I don't think you. I don't think you have pieces that are on your. I mean, like, yeah, you could package up. Yeah, you could package up MPJ, but he's actually more valuable to you than he is as a trade piece. Like, you'd rather. I think I'd rather have his contributions than RJ Barrett is not a free agent right now. I said unsigned. That's July. Hoops hype. Let's see what hoops hype got. Um, so it's like, okay, I don't think you have a lot of pieces for a trade. So you got to find somebody out there. You got to find somebody that you can add that is going to give you points off your bench. Just point production. You need point production off your bench. I don't even think it's any more special than that. I don't think you're looking for a guy who, okay, he fits our system. We could see it going forward. I think it's, we need a guy who can get defensive stops. No, I think it's literally find me a guy who can score the ball. And looking across this list of no, okay, there's one, but not. We already tried Justin Holiday. No, thank you. I mean, the pickings are slim, as they say. Wesley Matthews, eh. Frank Kaminsky, eh. I'm just thinking about centers that might be able to come in and spell Joker. Devontae Graham. Trust me, if it were worth it, he'd be on a roster. Reggie Bullock, long in the tooth. TJ Warren, long in the tooth. It's slim. And of course it is. These are guys that are unsigned. There's one unsigned guy. There's one guy sitting at home, though, who I believe still has the game. One guy who I believe would relish the opportunity to add a championship run to his resume. A guy who we are familiar with as Nuggets fans. He started his career with us. He's a definite Hall of Famer. The end of his career was enigmatic at best. Stops in OKC. Who remembers the Portland days? Of course, there was the putting the band back together or whatever you want to call that thing that happened in LA. I submit to you, Nuggets fan, and I'm talking to you, Calvin Booth. Call up Carmelo Anthony, and this is the message. This is what you say to him. Melo, what's up? It's Calvin. I don't know if that's how Calvin sounds when he talks, but that's how he sounds now. Melo, what's up? It's Calvin. Oh, nothing, man. Just sitting here trying to keep from losing my fucking job. What are you doing? Oh, word? Cool. Yeah, no, I've seen Cayenne. He's great, dude. He's great. We'd love to have him. We'd love to have him in a Nuggets uniform one day. I was thinking, Mello. What I know. You're not a fan. I get it. It didn't end well. There's hard feelings. How do we put this behind us? Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm thinking. Take your time. Let us know when you're in game, when you're in shape. I know you work out a lot. I see you. I watch the YouTubes. I'm always on the YouTube, keeping up with you and that wonderful basketball player you and Lala have birthed and raised over there. Hoping one day can be somebody who can maybe be in a Nuggets uniform like his pops, like his dad was. Maybe like his dad will be when he wins another championship playing for the Denver Nuggets this year. Coming off the bench. I need you to come off the bench now. But you're exactly what we need. We need for sure scoring. And you, to this day, I know, in sweats, in true religion jeans, you're gonna feel that you give these kids 30 off the bench on any given night. And I want you to do that for your Denver Nuggets. What do you say? That's how that call should go. Again, I don't know exactly how Calvin Booth sounds, or else I would have sounded more like it. No, just Calvin. He's got it. I mean, his name's Calvin, so he got just Calvin. Although he kind of doesn't. When you look at Calvin Booth, it kind of looks like he's more of like, hey, this is Calvin. Make the fucking call, dude. There's not. There's little. There is little chance that the Denver Nuggets will make a deep playoff run if the plan is to go as currently constituted into the postseason and playing Joker as much as you're playing him. It's just not. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. So, and I do think that it sends the wrong message to do nothing. I think it sends the wrong message to your best player and to your coach. It's like you guys aren't even willing to try. You're just going to say, figure it out. You're just telling us, figure it out. You've taken from the roster every year. You've taken from that championship roster, unwilling to pay. You hand me Dario Saric and you go make me a championship out of this. You give me Russell Westbrook and Dario Saric, and you say, go get me another, go get us another ring. Unless they're saying, hey, we got our one ring. Are you that big of losers? I would hope that the Cronkies are not that big of losers. Like, shit, we got a ring out of it. No reason to try anymore now. What? We got and we got the best player in basketball, so everybody's going to always show up. Sounds a little reminiscent of another team in the region, in the state, in the city, across town that wears purple and plays baseball. It's like, oh yeah, no reason to try. They're going to keep showing up, so don't do that. Don't do that because the basketball gods, they will not favor you. You owe it to Nikola Jokic to try. Everybody needs to give as much effort as your best player gives. Everybody in the organization has to give as much effort as the best guy on the roster gives. And what he gives you, night in, night out, is best player in the world effort in every phase of the game. So Calvin Booth, you owe it to him to give him best GM effort. Stan Kroenke and Josh Kroenke and whoever else is in y'all's, I get it. I'm not counting your pockets, although you got more than enough to spend a little bit into the luxury tax, put together a nice mid-level exception package, maybe cut I don't know how, well, you still got to pay guarantee contracts in the NBA, so there's nobody you could really cut. Kiss and make up with Carmelo, and I'm telling you, because Carmelo's game, to be honest with you, I'm not saying he is Luke. I'm saying plotting and slow and very skilled is a Nuggets kind of staple. You see that from both of their best players. You definitely see that from their best player. Joker's not speeding up for nobody. He's a plotter, but he's the greatest plotter I think the game has ever seen. I mean, as many dribbles as it takes for Jamal to figure out what he's going to do, it seems like when Jamal's at his best, when he's plotting, when he's dribbling the air out of the ball and then throwing up some bullshit. I mean, taking a very difficult shot. But he's good at it. So it's not my favorite to watch, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, Maul misses passes by that tenth of a second to a second that it would take a guy who's thinking about involving other players, but instead Jamal's always thinking about getting his own shot up. So a guy will be wide open, but the window is a second and a half. And you see him, but it's like, no, I want to get. So he hesitates, and he's always thinking about his dribble. And now what would have been an open pass is not there. And it's very frustrating to watch Jamal play basketball for me. But more power to him. I'm just saying this is not that up and down team. you take a player like Carmelo Anthony, he fits the style of play. Shot maker. Still to this day, I do believe that Carmelo Anthony could score you 11 a night. He'd get you 11 a night off the bench. Easy. In True Religion jeans. Do people still run True Religion? I don't know. Name the gene maker. The butcher, the baker, name the denim gene maker. He's getting you 11 a night minimum off the bench. His game is akin to that of, just think Luka Doncic. I'm not saying he's Luka. I'm saying think of how the game develops. It's plodding. It's slower. It's what I'm saying is it's not unheard of for a guy like that to be successful. He's gonna rebound the ball at some clip. He's not gonna get no rebounds. I'm telling you. And the opportunity to do two things: get a chip and be in the league when Cayenne enters the league. Get his little his LeBron on, and his son is 100x the player that Bronny is. Hell, who knows? Maybe he ends up as a Nugget as well. How sweet would that be? Listen, I do know I give you everything. I ask nothing of you in return. I'm just full of great ideas. I give you everything. I ask for nothing in return. I'm just full of great ideas. Do you know that what that would do for me? As a Carmelo Anthony fan, as a Nuggets fan, do you know what that would do for me? If you brought him out of retirement, brought him back, brought him out of retirement, and got him a chip, brought him out of retirement and got him a chip, which I do. I don't know about deserved in sports. Like, oh, he deserves a championship. I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know about all that. One of a new era kitty cock sideways, new pair of kicks instead of kick rock Fridays. But if anybody, I think you just want to see it for them, it's Melo for sure. Especially now, I think who he's become, like the man that he's grown into. I had questions about Melo just as a human being early on in his career. He was young, he had money, he was rude, he did certain things around town that not anything too terrible. He was just a young guy trying to figure it out. But he always gave us as Nuggets fans everything that he had as a basketball player. And when he left, there was no question in the world that he had earned the right to go and chase down something that he thought he could find elsewhere. Even if it wasn't a chip, he thought it was going to be happiness, a new legacy, be closer to his native born New York, whatever. He had earned that right. The way that it ended, the way it went down the stretch for Carmelo, and what was the time in New York? What was that really? Did it even happen? There was the Jeremy Lin thing. He wore the number 7. That's the other thing too. Is that my buddy said to me last night? He's like, it sucks because 15 and that it's a second round guy. What was he picked during a Taco Bell commercial or something like that? Mr. Irrelevant becomes the greatest basketball player in the history of the game. He's wearing your number 15. But when you think about it, Melo went on to wear number 7 in New York. So how much really did it mean to him? It didn't mean all that much. And I think he wore 00. I think he wore 0 when he was in Portland. I don't think that's the issue. I don't think the 15 would be the issue in terms of like asking him back. And I don't even really understand what the beef is between Melo and the organization. Hey, Vale. Hey, you there, Vale? What are the rumors of beef between Carmelo Anthony and the Denver Nuggets organization? I remember that now. I don't care. I don't care about. I don't care about that part. I mean, I love George Carl, but I don't care about that. I remember that now. He forced it, but again, it was like at the time he gave you 8 years. You gave him a shot at it, and George Carl as the coach. I'm quite sure that had a lot to do with Melo's not wanting to return. He had earned the right to exercise his freedom on the fridge, and that's the only time in an athlete's life when he gets to pick. Really, maybe when you make your, you know, as a high school athlete and you pick your college. But even then, you can only pick the colleges that really want to recruit you. And I guess it's the same thing. It's akin to that. But it's like I didn't have a problem with Carmelo wanting to leave Denver. I really did. And if that was the thing that soured the relationship between him and them, yeah, shit's water under the bridge and they can milk under the fridge. Let's get back to it. And again, I'm just talking about from a pragmatic standpoint. He's the only guy you can go get that can actually help you. That sounds like a definitive statement. It is. You owe it to your best player. Not only that, you kind of owe it to Carmelo. You owe it to your best player. You owe it to the best player in the world to do everything in your power, Calvin Booth, to get him some help, some offensive help. It's there. There's guys on the roster, but could you imagine like the growth that you could see maybe in a guy like Peyton Watson's game to be able to watch a guy like Carmelo work? Look at the effect that Carmelo working with his son. Look at the effect that that's had. I think people think because, well, he's retired. Did he officially? Hey, Vale. Hey, Vale. You there? Did Carmelo Anthony officially retire from basketball? You know what? It's only been 2023. So he's not, it's not like he's 5 years out of the game, 4 years, three even. He's not even 2023, he retired. So he's not even a full, like, come on. Make the call. You don't think he would answer that call? I think he'd answer that call, and I think he would not only would he answer that call, I think you'd be getting a different Melo. I'm talking about just in terms of talking to him. And you're not talking about asking him to come back and not play with the greatest player in basketball. I would love to see Carmelo Anthony and Joker work a two-man game. I'm telling you, I see it. I see it. I yanked it. I yanked the thing. I see it. You got to make that call if you're Calvin Booth. You owe it to me, God damn it. It just makes sense. It is damn near a no brainer. A guy who he's got a son who's about to be off to college. So once Cayenne goes off to school, he's going to spend a year in college, max. Then he's going to be looking to go to the NBA. Maybe Melo is around after just winning a chip. You want to finish it right? There's no way in the world that Carmelo Anthony should have retired via Instagram post. What? That's a real thing? May 22nd, 2023. Damn, no Nuggets. There you go. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. That's hard. I'm telling you, man, having literally watched that dude grow up, like I saw national championship Melo play in the national championship game and win it, covered the Nuggets when he was drafted by us, that series against Minnesota, the dunk on the cat, like all of it. And never ever once did I not appreciate who he was as a basketball player. Although I did have, you just got questions about young dudes. You know what I mean? Um, who he ended up becoming, I just never saw the thoughtfulness. I just never saw that coming. And people grow up, so of course it was going to happen. But you didn't know. You know what I mean? Was he going to grow into a old knucklehead? Like, keep it a buck. Bubba Chuck, my favorite basketball player. I don't even need to go into my history with that. My favorite basketball player, but there was something about the growth that seemed stunning. I don't think I'm saying anything that most people can't see. And I love Allen Iverson as a basketball player. I think as a person, as a human being, there was just and I'm telling you, Melo was it was close, and then so I'm like, would he play again? I mean, that obviously that message right there to his son seems like, I'm good. I did everything I needed to do. I don't have anything that I'm longing for. I don't have anything left to prove. Man, I still make the call. I don't give a damn. I still make the call from Calvin Booth. And the truth of the matter is like from a selfish perspective, um, LeBron James says he shot Carmelo Anthony's retirement video a week before the announcement was made. Okay, so Melo made the. I mean, LeBron shot it. I make the call. You got to check if there's any interest. He could help this team, and I think it would be mutually beneficial to both. This isn't a shot in the dark. This is adding the tenth, the ninth all time score to a team desperately in need of scoring that doesn't need him to do anything other than come in and score. Come in off the bench and fill it the fuck up. You, Russ, at times fit into this starting lineup. God, could you imagine him spotting up like I don't know, man. While it may sound like a pipe dream, to me it feels like field of dreams. Build it and they will come. It's built. You have all the pieces that oh my god, could you imagine? I would love that so much. I would love that for him. I would love that for the Nuggets. I would love that for the story. I would love that for this season's championship sort of complexion. I would love that for the future prospects of like, you know, Cayenne being able to play a year of college basketball and then maybe they, you know, I don't know. I love that for the thought of being able to retire Melo's jersey. I think that his jersey should be retired in the rafters in Denver at the can. Oh, come on. I, I have in this little session now, I have given two great ideas. And I ask nothing in return other than you listen to the wisdom. I give you everything. And I ask for nothing in return except for that you listen and obey. Shit, man. The difference between winners and losers is who's willing to think out of the box and make a different thing happen. Look at catch that. Give one back. Yeah. Block that. All with the left hand. Andre Ward was a beast. Oh, yeah, we're off the sports thing. Well, it'll make it. I do have a thing that if I feel up to it, this is about 25-minute deal. I just want to take a break and just numb out and watch some other stuff. You're free to join along. Um, British Parliament, with all the changes that we're going through, the number of parties that they have, the decorum, the way that they handle their debate, I like it. Oh, she she brought receipts. Damn, she put him on the spot. Nothing moves the world like the election of a U.S. president. It still to this day is frightening, kind of cool to watch. It's like the whole world. I mean, for instance, I don't know any of these people's names. Everyone knows who the U.S. president is. That can't be said. I think that's why the world kind of looks at us with this um, quiet resentment because they're like, man, if you didn't have those nukes, we are pompous Americans, American idiots. It's interesting. There's something about their decorum. I mean, you can't get away from this shit. So for the uninitiated, welcome to Good News Travels Fast. Welcome. Bad news travels far, travels wide. More time than not, travels first. But good news travels fast. Appreciate it. Applause. Um, you can't get away from it. You can try. I know so many people. You spent all this time trying to hide, hide from it. I did my job. I cast my vote. I don't want to hear about it. Well, it ain't going anywhere anytime soon because these fools left are losing it. Holy God. What's trending on Twitter? Now I'm just feeling, you know what I mean? I would normally just be this is the dome scroll section of the show. This was an interesting conversation that I was a part of that maybe I'll get into later, maybe not. But I could tell you what lost real quick. I could tell you what lost last Tuesday. As tomorrow will be the anniversary of election day and Donald Trump becoming president of the United States for the second time. He's now the 45th and the 47th. What lost last Tuesday was the Democratic Party's platform as a whole. I don't think you could say that in any small order. There's been all manner of meltdown and excuse making, and now there's a little blueing on, theory going on of elections stolen. But in general, what lost was a platform that seemed it has some chinks in the armor, to say the least, and a nature that is less than forthright with its constituency, like a way of doing business. And that's politics. Politics is politics is English for lies. But there has to be some measure of transparency. I feel like there should be some measure of transparency that you have with your party and your constituents so that when they go out and stump on your behalf and they believe the things that you tell them, that they're not left just shocked, as is the case. Let me turn on some. I need some tones or something. As is now the case with Democratic Party supporters. They don't know where to turn because it seemed like it was all in the bag. It was right there. It was hers to lose, they were told. What's that? What's that line from? What's that? What's that line from Die Hard? What's that line from Die Hard? Come on, it'll be fun. Die Hard. It'll be fun, she says. Yeah, yeah, this one. Come out to the coast. Oh, yeah, it's not ever realistic. Come out to the coast. Get together. Have a few laughs. It was supposed to go so much better than it went. But why? Why did it go so bad if it was supposed to go so well? Like, how does something that's supposed to go so well turn in on you in a dime and go so bad? So much so that like the responses are manic. It's manic. And I get it. It's a protest, right? These are protest videos. This is saying, my body, my choice, all these things. And I get it. Um, there is there's a demographic. There's a clear demographic. As you can see, there's a clear it's a clear demographic. See a lot of black women in here shaving their heads. Now, this one's crying. She's not. Is that's the and hey man, more power to you. This girl was manic. I watched her video. No. That is priceless. Be nice and clean. Shave every day and you'll always look mean. Um, how did it go so bad when it was supposed to have gone so well? How? Well, obviously there must have been cheating, right? And this dude has been putting his policies out. I can say quietly because I was around for the Bernie Sanders debacle. We all were, but I was paying attention. And I was one of those. That's that's cheating. The the good guys, quote unquote, have had a problem with the truth. They need to acknowledge that. And it's, I think, as philosophically, for me, there is there's this disconnect that I've watched unfold with the other side. That in and of itself built an online infrastructure with the Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has had a podcast since the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. When did Joe Rogan start his podcast? 2009. They weren't building that. That wasn't a Republican like Machiavellian scheme. It was a comedian that wanted to talk to his comedian friends, and he built that, and then he ended up building some 10 years later the most listened to internet product in the world. But that wasn't a building behind an ideology. And oftentimes it's billed as right wing when it's if you listen, that's how I know because I listen. So you know people who don't listen to the show when they say, "Oh, he's a this or he's a that," because of a soundbite that they heard. And this is part of the problem that we have as I think as a community of countrymen is that while one set of people were building long form content models, the other were still locked into hour long shows that are really only 30 some odd minutes long because of commercial breaks, really that break things down. You have to take big ideas and you have to consolidate them down to sound bites. Like that's one world. That world works on the internet. That's what TikTok and we were told that our attention spans are shorter. That's what we were told. But if you listen to podcasts, and I listen to a ton of them, if you're a podcast listener, you're used to long form listens. I don't need the cliff notes because I listen to the whole thing because it doesn't bother me. I don't have a million other things. I don't know what everybody's so busy doing. Like you can't listen to a podcast while you're doing other things. Maybe, maybe not. But you would definitely know who and what a person is about if you claim that they are something, if you sat and listened to them. But if you don't listen to them, you're just going to go with what the narrative is. That's how we know. But to say, oh, he built, they built this online, this like Van Jones sounds like he just got defawed from ICE. They didn't build them; they were built, and then they went to them. It's not something they did; it's something that exists. It's an ecosystem that existed that they tapped into. You still have it on your face because you still don't get it. That is the problem that many people have with one legacy media types and two with the Democratic Party because you guys didn't take the internet serious, and I still don't even know how. You live in the same world, but it depends on what type of content consumer you are on the internet. Are you a social media person or are you a podcast person? Are you a YouTube person or are you a social media person? There is a difference between the two sets, for sure. That short sound bite, get them quick. It's the same TV model. It's just on the internet. Don't have a lot of time. I'm busy. I'm busy. Beep, 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 beep. I watch a movie, but I wouldn't watch it. But it's like, okay. So while in this bubble, these conversations have been being had that are nuanced and involved and informative, you're still in the soundbite world, and it's killing them. I don't understand how it happened that you don't understand in the same modern world that you're living in that everyone else is in. I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, here's what's crazy. It's like y'all can memory hold it, but the internet doesn't forget a damn thing. Best Biden montage. The internet remembers everything.